welcome to Your Broken Galaxy. I am Broken, your host as always, and this is the last video in my Star Wars Versus series, and it's going to be a special one between Jawas and Ewoks. Please stay tuned at the end of the video if you would like details on how you can participate in making Season 2 of this Versus series. So upon learning that there are essentially sentient teddy bears on a far-flung forest moon, Jabba the Hutt sends Boba Fett to track down a couple. Boba goes ahead and has some fun, gets some Ewok meat for himself to eat, but he brings back a pair for the Hutt. Jabba sets up the whole fight, and here we go. Jabba's sail barge sets out for the Sarlacc pit. He's invited a bunch of other bigwigs. He sells tickets. It's a whole deal. Dozens of sail barges and skiffs come, and a number of sand crawlers even show up because, Jabbas don't really care about seeing each other die. Tens of thousands of spectators. A specially made square skiff begins to hover into place directly over the pit of Carkoon, carrying the Jawas and the Ewoks. The Jawas are free and they know what's going on, but the Ewoks, they can't communicate with anyone, and so they've had their wrists and ankles shackled together to prevent them from fighting or escaping. After a few minutes, those shackles are released. The Jawas immediately rush them, with the taller of the two Jawas standing at a towering 3'1", slapping the black-furred Ewok across the face. The Ewok screams some crazy gibberish and pounces on the Jawa. The second and shorter of the two Jawas run towards the brown-furred Ewok, but the bear strikes him in the throat with an open-handed palm. Suddenly, an Ugnaught wearing a referee shirt comes flying over on a scooter. He directs the shorter of the two Jabbas and the black-furred Ewok to the edge of the skiff so that the two in the center can resume the fight. The voices of Fode and Bede can be heard. "Here comes the referee. He's gonna restore some order to this fight." "Hop-hearted content of all," Bede says. The Ewok returns to the corner and jabbers incomprehensibly to one another. The Jawas also jabber incomprehensibly to one another, though it's a different kind of jabber altogether. "All right, let's get this fight started," Fode says. The Ugnaught signals and the bell rings. The Jawa circles around the Ewok, testing him. After a moment, they reach in and lock up in a clinch. The Ewok shuffles around the Jawa, lifts him up to execute a back body drop. The Jawa hits the metal deck on the skiff hard, but he stands up quickly. "That'll leave a mark," Fode says. "Kohontajabho," Bede adds. The Jawa bounces against the rope and tries to hit the brown-furred Ewok, but it ducks under the clothesline, and the Jawa turns as the Ewok delivers a swift kick to the stomach. As the Jawa bends over in pain, the Ewok grabs him around the head and executes a swinging neckbreaker. "Oh, that's gonna hurt," Fode says. The Jawa rolls to his corner and taps the hand of the shorter Jawa. He runs in and jumps through the air to execute a Superman punch directly between the eyes of the brown Ewok. The black Ewok on the corner jumps into the air in disbelief as his friend hits the floor. The short Jawa continues, and he drops an elbow onto the Ewok laying before him. Both combatants stand up and stare each other down. They engage in a clinch, and after a moment, the Ewok grabs the wrist of the shorter Jawa and bends him to his will. He wrenches the wrist, sending the Jawa flying, and after he hits the ground, stomps on his shoulder 3 times. He runs to the corner and tags the black Ewok in, who with the speed of a Varactyl climbs the corner and jumps through the air with a missile dropkick to hit the Jawa just as he had gotten to his feet. The Jawa goes down hard again, and the Ewok gets on top of him, raining blows down upon him. After 5 seconds, the referee pushes the Ewok off, who tags his partner back in. The brown Ewok walks to the Jawa, who had raised to his knees, but before he can stand, the Ewok kicks him in the chest, sending him backwards. He jumps on the Jawa, and the Ugnaught falls to the floor. He hits the mat, then once, then twice. Then the Jawa shifts his weight and throws his arms and shoulder into the air. The Ewok is mad. He grabs the Jawa by the hood, stands him up, and drags him to the corner. He taps the hand of the black Ewok, and they join together to raise the Jawa to sit on the top of the corner. They climb and stand on the middle ropes and execute a double superplex, bringing the Jawa crashing down. "Unbelievable," Fode says. "These Ewoks have got this Jawa right where they want him." The black Ewok covers the Jawa, and the Ugnaught begins to count again. But the Jawa breaks free just in time. The taller Jawa on the side, he starts raising his hands and chant, "Ibana, Ibana, Ibana," while raising his fingers in the air and pointing upwards. The Jawas in attendance join in with the taller Jawa, and the Ewoks start to look a little concerned. "This is incredible," Fode says. "The crowd is really pulling for this young Jawa." "Hontajigono," Bede says. "That's right, Bede. He is a local boy." The shorter Jawa starts crawling towards his corner, but the black Ewok grabs his arm and twists him around to a shoulder lock. After a minute, he releases it and walks to tag his other partner back in. "He really is in trouble now. He's got to make it to his corner," the announcer says. The brown Ewok climbs the corner one more time for another flying maneuver. When he gets on top, he looks at the sandcrawlers and waves with both hands as though he were a cute child. And the Jawas grow in anger. Then the Ewok jumps with all of the majesty and grace allowed to a creature of such a puffy and portly size. He begins to rotate backwards through the air. "I can't believe it," Fode says. The bear comes down, having completed a backwards rotation, and just before landing atop his enemy, sees the Jawa roll out of the way, and the Ewok hits the metal floor of the square skiff very hard. "Oh my heavens! Hakuto!" "You said it, Bede. That little guy just went for a shooting star press, but nobody was home. This is the Jawa's chance. Can he make it to his corner?" The Ewok stood and staggered back to his corner, and his partner, the black Ewok, runs towards the downed Jawa that is crawling towards his corner. Just as the Ewok is about to grab the Jawa's leg and drag him back to the center of the skiff, the Jawa lurches forward and tags his partner's hand. The crowd explodes in cheers. "Ibana! Ibana! Ibana!" They are all simultaneously thrusting their arms in the air in a pose of victory. The Jawa quickly climbs through the ropes and spears the Ewok. The other Ewok runs at him, but the Jawa grabs him around the waist. He executes a belly-to-belly suplex. The first Ewok comes back, and the Jawa strikes him in the jaw with a left hand punch. Then another. The Ewok is staggering, trying to stay up, as the Jawa does a little shimmy and shuffle before throwing a hard right fist, knocking the Ewok down on his back. He climbs the corner and salutes the crowd, who are cheering, "Ibana! Ibana! Ibana!" He walks towards the down Ewok and covers him. "He's got him now," Fode says. "1, 2, and the Ewok kicks out." Oh my goodness, the fight in these fluffy little bears is strong. The Jawa lifts the Ewok with his hand, grabs him by the head, and drags him to the rope. "Bede, I think he's trying to throw him to the Sarlacc," Fode screams. "Hakuto!" The Jawa throws the Ewok through the ropes, but the creature grabs on with all its might. He is refusing to let go of those ropes. The fight, the determination, the grit, it's undeniable, Bede. "Hatakantoyo!" The Ewok, hanging on for dear life, finds his opening and punches the Jawa in the gut. The creature is shocked, and the Ewok pushes again and again. Finally, a punch to the face, and the man goes off the ropes. The Ewoks slide through the ropes. The Jawa punches towards his head, but the creature ducks under it and runs towards the rope. The Ewok runs towards the opposite ropes, and they collide in the center of the ring with dueling clotheslines, both falling to the ground, exhausted and beat nearly to death. "These little guys have got hearts of champions, Bede. Antahato!" Both the Jawa and the Ewok start crawling towards their corners, and each make a tag at the same time. The two fresh combatants come through the ropes when suddenly a man wearing nothing but a Speedo, a jetpack, and a Mandalorian helmet flies into the ring, grabbing the Jawa around his head and smashing his face into the ground. The Ugnaught throws his hands in the air, and the bell rings, ending the match. "My goodness, a Mandalorian has interfered with a match! What is going on?" The Ewok walks to the Mandalorian, who extends his hand up to the man. The Mandalorian reaches down to shake the beast's hand. He pulls with the full force taking the Ewok off his feet, up towards the man's head. He grabs him around the Ewok's own head, and then falls to the ground, slamming the Ewok face first. The Mandalorian rips off his mask. Oh my gosh, it's Randy Orton! Fode screams in shock. The still conscious Jawa looks at Orton, who starts walking towards him. The referee jumps between them to stop Orton, but Randy grabs him and throws him over the ropes to the monster below. He grabs the Jawa by the throat, lifts him into the air, and executes another RKO in the same fashion that a grown man would execute an RKO on a 4-year-old child. The Jawa instantly falls unconscious. The final Ewok jumps from the skiff in order to escape Randy Orton, completely underestimating his ability to clear the Sarlacc pit, and he falls into the pit. This is just unconscionable, Fode says. Randy points to the main sail barge. This is a warning, Jabba. I'm going to come for you and any henchman you send my way. Randy throws the microphone to the Sarlacc pit and flies away. There are no words to describe what we have seen here today, folks, Fode says. Be sure to tune in to the Doom Sea this Sunday to watch Randy Orton take on Jabba for what is sure to be the fight of the century. Okay, so I think I got a little bit carried away with this one. This is, I believe, my longest video on this channel. But that's okay. Thank you for watching if you're still here. If this is your first time watching one of my videos, then I would be grateful if you check out some of the other Star Wars comedy stuff I have on the channel. Now, I haven't watched professional wrestling in years, but I thought this would be a fun way to do at least one of these here videos. I went to the WWE homepage today, and I saw a picture of Logan Paul, which I found utterly ridiculous. And I figured, you know, wrestling is just ridiculous enough that it really fits in to the broken galaxy that I am trying to create for all of you. I said at the beginning of the video, if you want to be a part of Season 2, there are a couple of big ways you can do that. First, go ahead and type in the comments below what character you would want to see fight what other character, and if you would like to be able to vote for who wins the fights, go ahead and sign up for my Patreon. The links are in the descriptions below. As of recording, I still have 0 patrons, which means if only one person signs up, then they're going to be able to pick the winner of every single fight, and that might be kind of funny. I will be taking a couple months off of the Versus videos to get ready for Season 2, get things lined up for that, but I will still be posting my regular videos. Thank you all so much for watching. Please like, subscribe, and all of that garbage.